Imagine this, the United States Air Force's next top fighter jet, the F-47, is already being built right now in secret. In March 2025, the Pentagon awarded Boeing roughly $20 billion to develop this new sixth-generation stealth fighter. USAF Chief of Staff General David Allvin didn't hedge. He says the F-47 will write the next generation of modern aerial warfare. But here's the twist. Boeing's engineers aren't working in public assembly lines. They're in hidden labs and digital factories locked down behind security. In Mesa, Arizona, Boeing quietly opened a $150 million advanced composite fabrication center specifically for making stealthy structures. Executives boast this facility utilizes the latest digital manufacturing and adds unprecedented speed and agility to the build process. In other words, the F-47 may already exist in pieces, assembled by robots and engineers behind closed doors. This news raises serious alarm bells. The United States military, historically cautious and methodical when rolling out next-generation aircraft, appears to be moving at warp speed. Just a few months after the contract award, Boeing is reportedly already assembling parts for the F-47. That kind of timeline is unprecedented. Industry insiders are stunned. One anonymous procurement official reportedly said, "We haven't seen a schedule like this since the Cold War." Boeing claims that its Mesa, Arizona facility uses model-based digital design and robotic tools to quickly build next-gen fighters. That's the official line. But let's break that down. They've engineered the jet not in a wind tunnel, but entirely in a computer. Designs have been simulated, tested, refined, all before a single piece of hardware was fabricated. Robotic systems then translate those digital models into precision manufactured components. It's cutting edge, it's efficient, and it's deeply unsettling. Why the mad dash? What's the reason for building the fastest developed manned fighter in US history? There's no way a program of this scale launches without a major strategic impetus. Are we racing against time? Are we preparing for an engagement we're not publicly acknowledging? Every seasoned scheduler in the defense industry would have waved a red flag at this tempo. And yet here we are, watching it unfold. Something has shifted. It's as if the Department of Defense is responding to a silent alarm, one the public hasn't been told about. This isn't planning for a hypothetical threat in 2040. This feels like bracing for impact in the next 24 months. It feels like listening to your rivals scream from the other side of the world. Something big is coming. Now let me explain you about the geopolitical urgency in Davidson window. This urgency isn't some bureaucratic overreaction. It's strategic, and it's global. Look to the east. China's most recent military parade wasn't just about tanks and pageantry. It was a direct, calculated display of air power. China showcased 5 stealth platforms, including a carrier-based fighter presumed to be the J-35 and a rumored new heavyweight, the J-36. One foreign analyst described it as a deliberate air superiority message aimed directly at the Pentagon. Just weeks after that, the United States formally confirmed the F-47 program. Coincidence? Not likely. Analysts agree. The timing was deliberate. A clear counter-move in a rapidly escalating technological Cold War. And looming behind all of this is a chilling phrase, the Davidson window. Named after Admiral Phil Davidson, former commander of US Indo-Pacific Command, it refers to his 2021 testimony, warning that China could attempt military action against Taiwan by 2027. That's not decades away. That's within the next presidential term. US planners are treating this window as a hard deadline. If Beijing's military is ready by 2027, America must have its counterforce in place before then. That's what this is really about. The F-47 isn't just a new jet, it's the spearhead of a crash program to restore deterrence in the Pacific. Taiwan may be the flashpoint, but this is about more than one island. It's about long-range stealth, theater access, and aerial dominance against a peer adversary with near-peer numbers and speed. The F-47 is being born into a timeline, not a budget, and that timeline is unforgiving. Think back to June 2025. The US and its allies launched Operation Midnight Hammer against Iran's nuclear sites. It was a massive strike, over 100 aircraft, including B-2 stealth bombers flying non-stop across continents. It demonstrated US stealth and long-range power in today's wars. Now ask, if that huge operation was needed for Iran, what will it take to fight a first-rate air defense in the Pacific? A raid on China or Russia would dwarf Midnight Hammer in scale and difficulty. The point is sobering. History shows us we're already pushing the limits of air operations. Future conflicts in Asia will require even greater reach, speed, and secrecy than ever before. Geography is the killer here. Any conflict with China means fighting halfway around the world, literally in their backyard. China can mass forces on nearby islands. US planes would have to fly longer, loiter less, and dodge thousands of kilometers of enemy radar. In war games of a China scenario, the deck is stacked against us. A retired commander summed it up: we'd be fighting in their front yard. And war game after war game ends with the same refrain: US losses mounting, our jets burning extra fuel, and one blunt outcome: we lose. We lose. The F-47 is intended to flip that script, but until it's operational, America faces an enormous disadvantage just in getting to the fight. This is where Boeing's F-47 comes in. More than just another aircraft, this jet represents a bold pivot in how America plans to dominate the skies of tomorrow. It is the centerpiece of the US Air Force's Next Generation Air Dominance Initiative, and it exists for one purpose: to solve a problem the current fleet cannot. The F-47 isn't designed for yesterday's wars. It's built for the massive distances and dense anti-air threats of the Indo-Pacific theater. With China's military reach expanding and timelines tightening, the Air Force needed something revolutionary. USAF planners have described it as the next step beyond F-22 and F-35, not just in performance, but in doctrine. The F-47 is designed to fly faster than Mach 2, with a combat radius exceeding 1,000 nautical miles, far enough to hit mainland Chinese targets from forward positions and return. And critically, it's built for stealth and survivability. Advanced low observable materials, next-gen electronic warfare suites, and AI-assisted sensor fusion all combine to give it an edge, not just in flight, but in information dominance. But here's what really changes the game. The F-47 isn't meant to fight alone. From day one, it's been designed to operate alongside AI-powered drone wingmen. These collaborative combat aircraft, or CCAs, will act as missile trucks, decoys, scouts, or even autonomous hunters, all commanded by the F-47 pilot, acting as mission quarterback. This formation isn't theoretical. The Air Force has confirmed plans to build more than 1,000 CCAs to fly alongside just 185 F-47s, one-manned jet, many robotic partners. It's a doctrine shift as big as the leap from propeller to jet engines. And at the heart of it is Boeing's jet, a manned fighter that flies faster, sees farther, hits harder, and commands smarter. As General Alvin said, this aircraft will write the next generation of modern aerial warfare. If even half of its specs are achieved in the field, the F-47 won't just be a new fighter. It will be a turning point in 21st century military aviation. Now, even hearing all of that, it might sound like wishful thinking until you remember who's building it. Because in a move that stunned the defense world, Boeing, not Lockheed Martin, won the contract to lead the F-47 program. That alone changed everything. Lockheed Martin is the reigning giant of stealth combat aviation. They built the F-22 Raptor, arguably still the most dominant air superiority fighter ever flown. They followed that with the F-35 Lightning II, now serving as the backbone of allied air forces around the world. Everyone assumed they'd continue that streak into 6th generation systems. But the March 2025 award flipped the script. The US Department of Defense clearly stated Boeing, not Lockheed, won the F-47 program. And that wasn't a fluke. Boeing's Phantom Works division, a Skunk Works-style black project arm, had been quietly laying the groundwork for years. Their demonstrator aircraft had already flown, possibly as early as 2019, in classified test flights. And as one Boeing executive later hinted, we've been flying a prototype for quite some time. That comment shattered assumptions. It meant Boeing's bid wasn't based on a paper airplane or a slick rendering. They had data, flight hours, proven tech, and above all, they had momentum. The win is extraordinary, not just for Boeing, but for the future of US air power. It injected real competition back into the stealth fighter arena. And for the Air Force, it meant speed. With Boeing's infrastructure already ramping, they could move from contract to construction in under 6 months, an unthinkable pace just a few years ago. But how exactly is this happening? Where is this ghost jet being born? The answer: behind layers of security in America's new stealth industrial base. Boeing has quietly invested more than $500 million into expanding its military aircraft production capacity. One key site is in Mesa, Arizona, where a 155,000 square foot advanced composite fabrication center now operates under classified restrictions. It's completely sealed off. No tours, no photos. Access requires clearance. Inside, engineers and machines work hand in hand, turning digital models into real-world aircraft parts. The same process that brought the T-7A trainer and MQ-28 Ghostbat drone to life now fuels F-47 construction. But the centerpiece is St. Louis. There, Boeing secured a 17-year lease on over 160 acres adjacent to Lambert International Airport. It's spending $1.8 billion to construct a massive Phantom Works assembly complex. This site is explicitly designated for future combat aircraft, with the F-47 and its supporting drone fleet at the center of that vision. Next door, another 47,500 square foot lab focuses on exotic coatings, heat-dissipating materials, and radar-absorbing structures. The entire complex has been purpose-built for stealth. These aren't token upgrades. Boeing has committed fully. Company leaders have stated plainly, the entire campus is tied to the NGAD contract. Had they lost, they would have walked away before 2026. Instead, they are building the future. Local economic forecasts project more than 500 new specialized aerospace jobs and up to 1,000 indirect positions tied to suppliers, logistics, and support services. It's a quiet boom, but to defense analysts, this isn't just regional growth. It's evidence of a stealth revolution, a full-blown industrial base emerging to construct the most ambitious fighter ecosystem the world has ever seen. And this time, Boeing isn't just supplying wings or systems. They are leading the charge. The F-47 isn't just their aircraft, it's their shot at reshaping the future of American air dominance. But the real shock isn't just that the F-47 is being built quickly, it's how it's being built at all. This isn't just faster manufacturing, it's a total reinvention of fighter jet production. Boeing hasn't been carving aluminum on a traditional assembly line. They've abandoned the old industrial rhythm entirely. Instead, the F-47 is born in bytes, not blueprints. Deep inside Boeing's classified Mesa plant, the F-47 program runs on a revolutionary engineering process called model-based digital design. This isn't just 3D modeling, it's a full-scale digital twin, a complete, testable, virtual aircraft built from the ground up in simulation. Every component, from airframe stresses to electromagnetic signatures, from cooling systems to radar absorption, is tested, analyzed, and modified in digital space before physical production even begins. Engineers don't sketch and test, they iterate, they simulate, they crash virtual airframes 1,000 times over, they run software-based flight trials using real-world physics models. This means that by the time the first F-47 component hits the robotic assembly line, every bolt has already been virtually flown, refueled, maneuvered, and fine-tuned. The result? A jet that is, in many ways, flight tested before it ever leaves the ground. When Boeing says they've taken the process from concept to first flight in simulation, they mean it. And that process radically changes timelines. In the old world, design took years. Wind tunnel testing followed, then prototypes, then manned test flights. All told, a new aircraft could take 15 years from drawing board to combat readiness. With model-based design, Boeing has compressed that to mere months. What once required teams of engineers with pencils and paper now unfolds in simulation clusters, running millions of calculations per second. This is not science fiction, it's the quiet reality of 21st century aerospace. Boeing has openly said its advanced facilities can quickly build next-gen fighters using these digital methods. And Mesa isn't alone. These practices are being integrated across the St. Louis Phantom Works complex, tying virtual engineering directly into robotic manufacturing. The implications are enormous. It means the United States can iterate faster than adversaries. It can build jets, test them in cyberspace, and produce them with near zero physical error margins. It means the F-47 wasn't just built fast. It was refined, perfected, and stress-tested before it ever left the hangar. This is the stealth advantage of tomorrow, not just in flight, but in how it gets built. It sounds familiar. The US has done this secrecy show before. Remember the F-117 Nighthawk and B-2 Spirit. Early on, their existence was deniable. The first official F-117 photo, in 1988, was a grainy, deceptive image staged to mislead analysts. Boeing and the Air Force are following the same playbook now. The only F-47 pictures we've seen are stylized computer art. often drawn at weird angles. Pentagon experts caution these are heavily edited to hide key features. Wings, intakes, tails, anything that matters might be blocked from view. Even Boeing admits the renderings aren't the final design. In short, every leaked F-47 image should be taken with a huge grain of salt. For years, US stealth programs have blurred or angled images to protect secrets. Expect the same for this next generation jet. Make no mistake, this is global. Rival powers are scrambling too. China's J-20S are already operational, and reports swirl about a 6th generation J-36 and a rumored carrier-capable J-50 stealth fighter. News of the F-47 sent shockwaves overseas. Chinese state media downplayed it. Some even sneered the announcement was an F-35 fiasco. They're mocking a program that hasn't even fully launched. US allies reacted the opposite way, with excitement. Defense Secretary Hegseth declared the F-47 sends a direct message that America can project power globally for generations. Air Force Chief Alwyn's praise made headlines around the world too. Wall Street noticed. Boeing's stock jumped on the contract news. One RAND analyst dryly pointed out, no one really knows what either side's new jet will do. We can't compare until they're flown. But in the halls of power, everyone sees symbols. Boeing's F-47 and China's J-36 are now locked in a silent duel of tech and secrecy. Even within the Pentagon, there's debate. Some warn that placing F-47s on islands like Guam or Okinawa could look provocative to China or Russia, while others note US allies are already buzzing, wondering if they too might one day get light export versions of this new fighter. The bottom line, the F-47 isn't just an aircraft, it's a message in a global arms race. And don't forget the surrounding cast. The F-47 is a manned jet in a bigger system of warfare. Under NGAD plans, each F-47 could fly with dozens of autonomous wingmen. Only about 185 F-47s are planned, but US officials speak of hundreds or thousands of unpiloted combat aircraft, UCAS, swarming around them. Boeing's own MQ-28A Ghost, Bati's a test case, a stealthy AI-controlled drone designed to fly alongside fighters. General Atomics, Lockheed, Anduril, they're all building robotic wingman prototypes too. In the envisioned future, a single F-47 pilot might command a pack of agile drones, extending his senses and weapons. Against such a system, a lone interceptor is outnumbered, outsmarted, outgunned. The new era is crew plus machine versus crew plus machine. The F-47's true power will only be understood as the central node in that web. After all this, questions loom as large as answers. The F-47 program is still largely a mystery wrapped in secrecy, as insiders concede. We don't know its final shape, its sensor suite, or its vulnerabilities. What we do know is it represents the most dramatic transformation of US air power in decades. But it's also a gamble. Should America compress jet development to this furious pace, saving years at the risk of shortcuts? Are we triggering a dangerous race against time? How soon before the pilot is just one seat in a cockpit of drones? What if this secret project succeeds? What new threat will the next decade demand? In the end, the only thing certain is that the sky is changing. Will the F-47 be remembered as the savior that kept American air dominance intact, or as the harbinger of a new era of hidden high-speed aerial warfare? One thing is clear, the next chapter of air war is being written right now in locked factories and coded programs. What do you think? Are we racing fast enough or too fast? Is secrecy our best defense, or does it invite miscalculation? And beyond the F-47, how soon until pilots become optional and pure machines fight the wars? These are the questions that will define the future of conflict. One thing is sure, the F-47 is on our doorstep, and the world will soon know who really built it and why.